Hello, everyone. Welcome to Make It Known with Mal. I'm your host, Mal, and today is a very great episode. I'm super excited. I'm going to be talking with someone who works for this amazing nonprofit. We'll get into it, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So without further ado, I am introducing Mrs. J. Okay, can you tell us who you are?
First of all, Mallory, thank you for inviting me. And this is my first interview I've ever done. But I'm really excited for two reasons. One, for you thinking of me as a person who can make a difference. And number two, is to share this great nonprofit thing they're doing with so many people. So my name is Jay Prabhu, and mm, the profit that I work for is Proverbs 226. This was founded by my husband, Mr. Cyril Prabhu, and he grew fatherless. So a simple word is like he wanted to do something for children who are fatherless, and that is the seed of this whole nonprofit. I'll go into details as you ask me the questions.
Okay, great.
And my title is I'm the director of operations of Proverbs 226.
Okay, great. So Proverbs 226, for those who don't know, that verse is, I actually was going to have it pulled up. I should know this. Grew up in church. 1 second for everyone listening. That verse is
Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. That's what the
perfect.
verse means.
Yes, perfect. Okay. And that's so it comes from the Bible, for those that are listening that don't know, and it is a Christian based organization, or it's based off of a Christian scripture, so they try to I guess incorporate
Yes,
Christian things.
exactly. Because the reason we are focusing, first I have to say this focus is mainly on the children of inmates. Sometimes it's both the parents are in the prison, or sometimes it's just one of the parents are in the prison. But this is basically based to help the children of inmates who suffer without doing anything wrong because of the actions of their parents or even grandparents, and we want to help these children who are no fault of theirs, are deprived of opportunities and a lot of things in life. So that is the whole theme of this, to lift up the child, like literally train the child, since because they do not have somebody at home to literally do the training part, which is supposed to be done by the parents. And due to lack of fathers, mostly 90% is lack of fathers, make a huge impact in the house, because they do not have somebody to guide them between right and wrong. So we are not doing the job of the father, but we are at least trying to show them a path that they need not be stuck in that deep poverty. But there is still hope. There is a way for them to get out of that, and we are trying to show them a path which they can take and which will not end them in prison.
Perfect. That was great. That was a perfect explanation. So I guess so. Proverbs 226 is split up into two parts. So let's talk about first the part where the children get to see their fathers or the mothers. Can you just explain a little bit about that?
Yes. So basically, Proverbs, first, when we began the program, I have to start from there so that you understand the whole story. So basically, we are from India. So for us, our most emphasis is on education. So we think education gives you a platform to raise up your standard in life. It gives you a lot of opportunities to get a better life. So first we thought if we give them scholarship to go to, because my husband works on a data analysis area, so he did a lot of analysis, and the outcome was 95% of these children drop out of high school. They don't even enter college. So he thought, if we can encourage these kids not to drop out of high school and go into college by providing them scholarship, because money is a big thing going to college, since
Mm-hmm.
colleges are pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So we thought, if we give them support, like offering scholarship, which will enable them to step into college and, step into another part of life. But then as we started the program, we realized that these families are struggling more than, because like food and clothing, even those basic necessities were itself a day-to-day struggle for them. So slowly what we thought was, there's a lot of anger among the children. They don't do well in schools because they hate their fathers. They they love their fathers, but they hate the situation that they've put
Mm-hmm.
through, this kind of a situation due to the fathers or mothers in prison.
And they probably
So
can't
they have,
process it either. Their young
exactly.
kids don't really understand everything.
Yes, so they had so much of anger against, which is stopping them to even try, because they're not even having a hope to think otherwise. So
Mm-hmm.
once we realized that, we thought, okay, let's start taking them to their dads. And we have 3 programs which happens in the prison. One is called Forgive Me Dear, which is done in the early part of the year, and the middle of the year, when the school is about to start, we do back to school, and during the Christmas time we do celebrate. So the Forgive Me Dear we started because we thought these children need reconciliation. They need to the fathers need to ask for forgiveness, and the children needs to learn to forgive their dad and move on. And the moving part is for both of them, because most of the time when we talk to the inmates, a lot of inmates don't forgive themselves. So
Mm.
we are trying to help those men also forgive themselves and move on. And the same thing for the children. So what we have, our organization is 6 years old, and we have seen tremendous changes in the hearts of the fathers and the children, where it has opened up doors like anything. And not only these inmates and children, even the people who volunteer, they themselves, so many of them have come and told us what a change it has brought to their heart. So it's like like a full puzzle piece. Like everybody gets reconciled, and the whole day is, it's not a very depressing day. It's a lot of emotional impact, but we start the day with games, so that, because oftentimes we have come across situations where the children don't even know their father. We have introduced the children to the father, saying,
Oh
this is your
wow.
dad.
Oh.
They would not have seen their dad since birth. So we have come across situations where the children were not even aware that their dad was in prison, because sometimes the mom does not want the child to know that their dad is in prison. So we have made a special request to the mom, talking to the mom, saying why it is important for the child to come and meet the dad. And if they agree, then we take them and they introduce. And these children, they won't even speak. They're so angry, they won't even sit next to the inmate.
Mm.
But then when they see the other children interacting with their dad, slowly they mellow down. This is a very common scene which we have seen. And then by after lunch, they slowly start opening up, and then they cry and cry and cry. And then they mend their hearts. And it's a beautiful thing. There are certain things which I can only express in words, but the experience you have to see for yourself and experience it, which I cannot explain in words.
Yeah.
But it is so beautiful. At the end of the day, we have so many of the inmates and so many of the children come and cry to us, thanking us that they never thought they will get to see their child in their entire life. And that moves the inmate's heart so much. And the outcome of that is, see, this program is only for the children. Our focus is on the children, because there's a lot of programs for the inmates, like biblically and all those things, but there's no program for children. So we are the only program that focuses on the family and the children rather than the inmates. So when that happens, the fathers, it gives them hope that to live, at least to do good things, at least to be, because a prison is a world on its own.
Yeah.
There's so many things going on. Even if you want to be a good person in the prison, it is a very tough thing to do. There are gangs there. That's what, it's a world by its own, and it has its own difficulties to survive there also. So for the first thing to be part of Proverbs 2 to 6 for the inmates is they have to stay out of any disciplinary action for at least a year. Otherwise, they cannot take part in the program.
Oh,
And
that's
if they
good.
get,
That's good.
yes, because as a father from inside the prison, there's not much they can do for the children. So the one thing we ask them is to take responsibilities, not to get into any disciplinary action. So that being said, that helps them, and once they become part of the program, they also try their best not to get into any problem within the prison. So they try to do that also. um, and when it comes to the children, now once we started doing that, taking them into the prison, and these children every time by the end of the day they come, the first question they ask us, when can I come again like this to have this much fun with my dad? Because they
Oh,
play in the morning, and then
yeah.
we make them eat lunch in the afternoon as a picnic lunch with the families. And the thing is, most of the time we have volunteers monitoring, but we ask them to stay a little bit back, so that the dad and the child has private times, because they don't get that. The difference, people might ask, what they do get visitations, what is the difference between visitation and this, right? Visitation, they just get even though they get to go and see their dads, there's a lot of prisons who do not let physical thing, they cannot touch each other easily, whereas in our program, the fathers can hug them, they can kiss them, they can show their love however they want. So that is allowed, and it didn't come easy. My husband fought for it, because when we started the program, the prison said no way possible, we cannot let them touch each other. But my husband said, Mr. Cyril said, like, unless you give them that physical love, it's not going to happen. So the first event when we did in Kershaw, when the officers saw what was happening, they could not believe their own eyes. That
Oh.
was the change it brought, because uh, just the day after that program, the officers, the head of the officers, the warden, called my husband and said, we never thought. The officers cried
Oh.
during the program. That's how much it moved everybody. And they said they kept talking for days about the program. I'm talking about this first program when it happened, the first prison, because nobody expected such a big turn up of events, the heart change of heart in the inmates and the children, that they knew that this program is going to work. So it brought a lot of changes even in the inmates in a positive way. They start getting into fights. They were not so angry like before, because they knew they have to be a good parent for the child. So it made a lot of, which we didn't expect in the beginning, because this program is based for the children. So that one was like a bonus for us. The
Yeah.
change of heart in the inmate and their actions being going positive. And this review was given from the wardens from the prison. The change, they were so impressed by the change in the inmates, which helped the wardens and the officers too.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yes, and there was an instance where there was a big riot happening in one of the prisons, and one of the Proverbs dad took a knife stab for the warden. He protected the warden,
Oh,
which is very rare.
wow.
That doesn't happen,
Oh,
but
my
that was done
goodness.
by one of the Proverbs father who protected that warden.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah,
wow.
yes, like changes which we are not even expecting has happened. I can go on like this, there's so many things like this, but I'm telling you one example. So
Yeah.
the impact on the inmate and the children is huge.
And I mean, that is so, oh, that's so good. The fact that the inmates are changing, and like it's changing their hearts and giving them responsibility, because that could also help with recidivism.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can't say that word, but you know what I'm trying to say. That can help
Yes.
with that, because also I'm just thinking like long term. So they go through this program, they finally see their kids, and then they get out, and then they already have a relationship with their kids because they've been through this
Exactly.
program, and they're going to want to stay accountable. Oh, I love it. That's so good.
Yes.
That is so
So see, if, without this program, yes, there are, see, visitation is there, but not all children come for visitation. And when this is the one common thing which we used to hear before is like the fathers, when they come, when they are released from the prison, they're still a stranger to their kids because they did not have that relationship. Now, because Proverbs takes them every year, like 3 times in a year, now that relationship is continued, so they are not a stranger anymore to their children, and they look forward to be with the family. It gives them hope to go back to their family.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. That's so good. And honestly, like that is one of the most important parts about this nonprofit is the family aspect, because like you said earlier, families, when kids grow up without a father, like it affects so many different aspects of their life. It affects um, a girl's life in a certain way, and it affects a boy's life in a certain way. And the fact that they can come back and that they're able to have they can come back and they have that relationship with their father is, I mean, that's just so great. That's
Yes,
so
so
great.
that's why the celebrate event which we celebrate during the Christmas time is specifically for daughters, because when we started the program, the first shocking thing what we saw was there were about 80% of girls with below the age of 15 were pregnant,
Oh wow.
and then most of the boys were already in juvenile. We did not even get one child to provide scholarship the first year because most of the kids were either in jail or most of the girls were pregnant.
Oh wow.
So that's why we started celebrate, so that the dads get a, that program is mainly for the dads to dance with the daughter
Oh
and tell them how beautiful they are and how much they love their daughters, so that the daughters know that they don't need to seek attention from another male person to be felt special about, that their dad
yeah.
loves them. And I think that gives them a lot of confidence to handle themselves in the outer world.
That just thinking
Mm.
about that just makes my heart so happy. That's so good, man. So you answered kind of a lot of questions I was going to ask. You very clear. Like this has been great. I guess the next thing I would say is just talk a little bit about the scholarship aspect. So explain that a little bit.
Okay, so the scholarship, we are going to change a little bit, but so far, what we do is any Proverbs dad who has enrolled in Proverbs, their children are, no matter what their age is, they are entitled for scholarship provided by Proverbs 2 to 6. And how the scholarship works is, we encourage them to go to their own state schools, which because schools are in general so expensive. So we try to provide them some financial help by providing scholarship. And the one thing what we expect them to do is to have a GPA for 3.2 or above, so that their part is to make sure they study well. They keep their grades up, they do good in school. That's their responsibility as a student, so that when they have done their part, and we can help them by providing the scholarship for the whole 4 years, depending on their GPA, we provide them scholarship. Sometimes we do, depending on, because every child's scenario is different. There are some students who don't have any family to support them at all. I have at least about 10 students like that. So in that case, we also try to help them beyond the scholarship by providing for their books, or help them with some accommodation. Those kind of things also we do, but that's on special cases only. But our
Okay.
main goal is to encourage them to go to college. So we, every time when we go into the prison, we always make announcements saying that anybody who is in junior high to come and register for scholarship for Proverbs 2 to 6. And one happy thing I'm about to say is at least 80% of our students have told us that if not for Proverbs, they would not even think about going to college.
Oh,
So
yay.
yes, because they said that's a big help for us, because without that financial help, because we cannot do it at all. So that's a good news. So we have helped them to step into college, to get into, because, and we have come across so many kids who are the first generation to go to college also. Nobody in their family other than they're the first kid to go enter college. So we have seen that scenarios also.
Wow. Well, that's, I mean, the scholarship aspect is really good. And so for those listening, I interned there 2 summers ago and I worked on the scholarship. And a lot of, so they have to write essays and explaining why they want it or why they deserve the scholarship and everything. And a lot of the stories are they're very moving. And a lot of the kids you could tell are actually like very motivated as well. And there's a lot of people out there, including these kids, and I'm sure there's others that want to learn, that want to do things, and they just need help because you can only play with the cards you're dealt, and some people are not dealt the best cards, so they just need some help. And that's really great that, I mean, the kids even think about going to college because of this program. That's
Yes.
great.
And the most unfortunate thing is colleges, because I've spoken to a lot of colleges to ask for more help for these kind of students.
Mm,
Unfortunately, colleges answer as an organization. They don't take it personally, and the
mm,
colleges do not help them in any way. I mean, there is a lot of grants available, uh, but it doesn't benefit everybody, because not everybody is able to get what they are asking for.
right.
That is so sad that some of the students can't even think of colleges because they don't fit that criteria. They don't have something which will help any kind of student who's willing to study. That is a sad thing, which I used to deal with when I speak to the college financial aids or all those people, and they won't even budge to bring down a single dollar.
Oh, wow.
But there are some colleges who are willing to go above. Some colleges work with us by bringing down, but it's very minimal. It's not too many colleges who are ready to do that for students like this.
Wow.
That is the very sad truth.
And I like what you said about take it personal, because I mean, I've seen it firsthand, and even with other nonprofits I work with, that's why I'm so big on like community helping people, is people taking it, like everybody has a different story. So doing something for one person might not work. You might have to find another way to help someone else. And I love seeing people actually like, okay, this is an individual. This is what this specific person needs. Let's see how we can help this specific person to move on to the next step or whatever it is that the task is. And I've seen that with Proverbs, just how you've taken individual people and are like, okay, this is what they need for this moment. Let's go ahead and help them with that. Because that's really what makes a difference. Because like you said, like there's grants and scholarships, but there might be something specific like, oh, we need this person to have had 3 years of Spanish, but the kid only had 2 years, but they still want to learn, or there's just so many other factors. And sometimes it's not a one size fits all situation.
Yes, because see, even though the commonality among all these children is all their dads or moms are in prison, and then they all come. You should go see their houses where they live. We can't even survive for an hour in those houses.
Mm,
Okay, so they come from very, very miserable state of living, and I cannot do a common I mean, we cannot, the organization cannot, I mean, there is a common thing which we do, like providing scholarship, but I want to, me as a scholarship, leader, I've told Mr. Cyril so many times after talking to so many students that everybody's need a little bit different than each other. So I want to Proverbs to be part of each child in every possible way we can, to uplift that child's life. So that's why I deal with every student individually, and I try to, but unfortunately not all students also respond the same way, because they also sometimes see us only as an organization, so they don't
Mm,
try to communicate with us the way I would love all the students. For me and my Mr. Cyril, we see them as they are our children. We don't see them as somebody's children. So that's why we take so much of love and care, and we want to see these children succeed, each one of them. Not just saying Proverbs kids. I want to name each child and say, and whichever student I've dealt with, I know them personally initially, but now I cannot, like, as a organization, we cannot also force ourselves onto a student if they are not making. I don't blame them, because throughout their life they have been only made fake promises which were never kept.
that's
So it is very hard for them also to suddenly trust an organization, because which has never happened to them before. Everybody has given them promises, but they were never fulfilled. So they have always grown up with disappointments. So it takes a lot of courage and trust for them to believe that we really do what we are saying. And there are about 10 students whom I know really personally well, and who also trust us and who come to us when they need help, and we have helped them. So there is some portion which the student need to do. So if they are willing to stretch their hand to hold our hand, we are willing to stretch our hand more.
yeah.
So we do
Yeah.
that, and you have seen me do that.
I
Uh,
have. I have.
yes, that's what. Even though it's an organization, we personally try to be involved with the families and the children, so that they know us and they know that they can trust us through our actions, not through our words. They can see for themselves what we do, and they can trust and take our hand to lead them to a better life.
I like that, through your actions and not just your words. That,
Yes.
yeah, I like that. And honestly, like, for those of you listening, like, that's the truth. Like, I have seen the difference. I have seen, like, how beneficial Proverbs is in various kids' life. Like, I've seen it. It's a real thing.
Yeah,
Then
let me tell you one success story. So
yes.
our first batch of students who graduated was for last year, and one of our student name is Lonnie Gasky,
Oh,
and
nice.
he has been with our program the full fledged of 4 years, and he completed he did bachelor's in computer science, and now he works in Bank of America.
Whoa.
He
Good for
graduated and he
him.
got a job immediately, because he was a Proverbs kid, and he was a thing, and now he's a successfully career person. So I'm so proud to say that, and it made my heart so happy to see the successful kid. And we have all the four who graduated. Everybody's in their successful field.
Yes, and that's so good. And that is the purpose of nonprofit. That's the purpose of helping and working with your community. That's the purpose of Proverbs 226, to have success stories, to see stuff done. And honestly, this is what makes people want to help. This is what makes people want to give. Like, is honestly, hearing this is getting me all pumped. I'm like, okay, let me figure out, like, while I'm here, still in Charlotte, like, what else I can do maybe to help out somehow. Because, like, that the whole purpose is to make some changes. And, like, I think that especially now, and especially once this time is over, a lot of us have to reevaluate different things that we're a part of, and, like, reevaluate ourselves in a sense of, like, we're saying we're going to do something, now let's see if there are results, and if there's not results, let's do something else. Or maybe you need more time, maybe you need to reevaluate your mission, or whatever. But yeah, that's great to hear, something like to go through the entire program and then to come out with a very successful job. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so I guess the next one, I mean, you kind of already said it and I kind of just said it, but if you were thinking of adding something else, the very last question I do want to ask is I guess, or sorry, two more questions. I guess is like
I can
why, oh, sorry, what?
I can tell you about the future, like the project which we are currently working.
Oh yeah. Tell me that. Sorry, tell me that after. Let me just ask this one last question and then you can tell me that.
Yeah.
Sorry. So the next, like the last question before you say that is what, like, why does this matter? Like, why should people listening like help out? Why should people listening even care? Why should people listening donate? Why should people listening even want to have any hand in this at all?
I'm not talking only about Proverbs 2 to 6. I'm talking as a human being.
Ooh, I
If
like
we are
that.
going to just live a life just for us, just standing for us, working for us, and taking care of our the family alone, we are just taking care of ourselves. Okay, that's not what human being is about. Human being is about um, we, human being as such itself. We are interrelated. We are not soul. What do you say? Like some animals, they tend to live by themselves, right? Human beings, we are not created like that. If you see back, like ages of the human history, we used to always live as groups. Like, I don't know how many of you know this, but initially when humans started living, they used to have like the whole group, and then they have a head, and all the men go and hunt together and keep all their meat. Everything was given and distributed evenly for everybody. That's how humans started. We never earned for ourselves. It was always for the whole community. That is how human beings are made of. That's how we can think. That's how we work. So when we are like that, we are supposed to be there for each other. Even though there is always going to be a difference of opinion, saying, I work hard, why should I share? Yeah, that is all going to be there. But then when you look at yourself, just to make you a better person, um like, let's take about love. Unless you share the love with somebody, the love has no purpose. It's not enough just to love yourself. It's so nice when you love somebody else. The joy of giving is much higher than the joy of having it.
Yeah, that's
This
so
is from my
true.
personal opinion. So the joy is to share. It can be your knowledge. When you're giving, it need not be only financial. It can be giving of knowledge, sharing your knowledge. Like, suppose you're great in studies, then you can help another student who's struggling with education or with a subject. If you're good in cooking, teach somebody who doesn't know cooking. These things help you to like there are certain things you have to experience yourself to know the joy of that. So
Yeah.
beings are meant to lend a hand to each other. So it can be anything. It can be like feeding the poor, or feeding the hunger, whatever it might be. The joy you get out of doing selfless things is unmeasurable. And every see, when we go to do the events every Saturday, at the end of the day, it's a very tiresome day. Physically, it is a very, very tiresome day. But then, as the program ends, when the inmates, or because we also now take the families inside the prison, the whole day they spend with the inmates. And when the families come and pour their heart out, saying, I never imagined I will have a day like this with my son, that joy washes away that whole struggle I had to do for that program.
Hmm.
The joy that I get, I cannot get that joy out of anything which I do for myself. you know that's how I
Yeah.
measure it. The joy you receive when you're doing something out of your way is uncomparable.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
anybody who's there, who has all of us have our own strength, right?
Hmm.
Just sharing that strength has a huge impact, and you're also going to improvise your community by that. You're making the community into a positive area, because you're giving something which is good.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
why I think everybody should really receive the joy. Even in a selfish way, you can try it, just to see whether what I'm saying is true or not. You can just try out. Try to
Yeah.
do something. It can be a small thing or a big thing. The size doesn't matter. Let me share my story. Okay, when I think I was in college, and that was my birthday. And in India, we have a lot of beggars who sit on the street. And this was my first day of my earning. I got my job, and this was the first time when I got my salary. And like those days, I also grew up in a very financially tough family. So getting a chocolate bar was a big deal. So when I got my first salary, and when every day I used to walk to my bus stop, we travel by bus to work, and there used to be a bunch of beggars on either side, and most of them were infected with leprosy. It's a common thing in India.
Oh,
So
wow.
they
I did
can't,
not know
yeah,
that.
so they won't have fingers, and they can't even so they're all sitting there. And there used to be a couple in that, and they are very warm person. Even though they're beggars, they were very warm, and every day in the morning I used to always say hi to them. But I don't believe in giving money to beggars, because that's not going to help them in any way, because we don't know what they're doing with that money. Instead, I will give them food or something. But that day when I came, I bought a chocolate bar for each one of them, and I
Oh.
gave everybody a chocolate bar, and the smile in their face, I will never forget that in my life. And the joy, because I didn't expect that. And when I gave them, and when I saw that warm smile, and the thankfulness from their heart, till today I will never forget that day. That that's the day I learned giving is so much happiness than anything in this world. Rather than me buying something for myself, the joy that I got from giving something to somebody was so beautiful. So I will never forget that. So that every time, that whenever I go to the event, that's what my memory picks up every time when I go into the prison. When we do something for others selflessly, the joy you get in return is so beautiful.
Wow. Wow. That was a great answer. Great answer, man. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the future plans for Proverbs 226.
Okay, so the future plan, what we are deciding is, we think that these oftentimes when the kids are ready in the senior year, not everybody has a good GPA. We come across most of the students who are below the GPA of like 3, 2.2, 2.9. So we were thinking that they need more guidance in education wise from the younger age. So we are planning to do a mentorship for these children from the younger age, so that we can guide them to get better GPAs when they come to senior year. So they will be allowed to get more scholarships and more opportunities to go to college. Because if your GPA is
Nice.
very less, there is no way anybody, even our organization, cannot help children who have a very low GPA. But then we don't want to let go of those children, because they are the ones who end up in the prison. The
Yeah.
ones who are, yeah, the kids who have a good GPA, at least they try to fight. But the kids who don't have, because they don't motivate themselves to do, because there is no motivation in their life. Their question is, why should I? We don't want them to. That's when they choose into. Even recently, just 3 weeks ago, he was one of the best kids. He was a basketball player, and there was a shooting between basketball gangs, and this boy and another 5 more boys were shot. He's 16-year-old boy.
Oh my goodness. And he was one of the
Yes,
kids?
he has been with Proverbs since Proverbs started,
Oh
and he was
wow.
about to go to college this year. He
Oh,
was an excellent student.
wow.
So that is so sad. His life is
Yeah.
done. This is common in families of these which we see. Shooting. There was a recent shooting which happened in a house. It was a random shooting which happened in the street, but the bullets came poking through their houses.
Oh,
So
wow.
this is the kind of atmosphere they live in. They're the families, the background of the families, like where they live, that's a different story also. That's like a different world. So every day it's a struggle for them to even stay alive. That's how it is. And most of these children are raised by grandmothers, great grandmothers, not even by parents. How
Mm.
much do you think a grandmother can do a teenager boy?
Oh,
I have
yeah.
a teenage son. It is so hard for me, even though we are proper parents. No, it is so tough now. And how much
Yeah.
can a lady, and most of these times, the grandmothers will have 3 or 4 children to take care of.
Yeah.
So that's why this mentoring is one thing we're starting. It's yet to start. And the other thing which we started was the mercy ministry, where there are some families like the especially where the small children are raised by grandmothers who can't even work. So we do program called Mercy Ministry, where we try to go to houses, the churches. They sponsor the items, like the whole house. Like we do the porch, we build a broken thing, or replace their appliances.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
provide everything that need for that family. That's called Mercy Ministry, which we effectively started in the year of 2019. So that's also
Nice.
going good.
Wow. This is really good. So if someone is listening to this and they're like, oh, I really want to volunteer, oh, I
Yes.
love what you're doing, I want to be a mentor, or I want to help build a house or something like that, where can they find the information? What do they need to do?
First of all, I would like them to go into proverbs226.org, where they can get a lot of information, and anybody can contribute to Proverbs 226. Everybody's strength is useful to us. So if once they go read Proverbs 226, and if they want to either know more or want to contribute, they can email me at j@proverbs226.org.
And I'll also have the links in the description, um, in the show notes. I'll also have Jay's email in the show notes as well, for people who are really interested, who are hearing this and like, wow, this sounds like an amazing organization. I would love to be a part of it. And like she said, anybody can be useful, like your strength. If you just have a passion for kids, if you have a passion for helping people, you can find something to do in this organization, even if you're not like if you're a graphic designer, if you are a speaker, if you like public speaking, if you like doing data stuff. I get like anything. If you just have a passion for people and you want to help and give back, they can have there is a job for you. There is
Once,
something you can do.
Mallory, whoever, they can go through the website, they will get a lot of information what exactly we do, and from what I've told you so far. And what they can do is they can always email me and ask me, hey, I would like to do this, is it possible? So I can give you an elaborate answer of what is possible by them, because you can help us with the simple things like I need somebody to do some input data. Any kind of help is welcome, because there is always help needed for us, because this organization needs all kinds of help, because we do a massive thing. Like we work with the families, we work with the children, we work with the inmates, we work with the prison. So some people like to come and volunteer in the prison, so they come with us. It's a one whole day event, so they can come. We would actually encourage people to come, because they have to literally see what exactly we do and what is the outcome of that, because seeing is believing. So once you see that, you will know exactly what is going on. The main picture is there. But some people are scared to come into the prison. That is quite understandable. So if you think you cannot come to the prison, then you can be part of the mercy ministry, like where you go with a church, and then you can help out in fixing the houses, helping the families. You can do that. Or we since we are starting the mentoring program, that area also you can help. So if you can email me and tell me what is in your mind, what is that you can do, then I can help you to find out what will work for you.
Yes. So I will have the email in the show notes. Everyone, do that. If you feel a tug in your heart, do that. Listen to that tug in your heart.
And they can also go into Proverbs 226 slash Facebook. They will have a lot of current events, what's going on and what people are talking about it, people who have come to the prison, their experiences, so that they get a glimpse of what people are writing about what they experienced. So they can get a glimpse of that also. And they can also see pictures. Whatever I spoke, you can see visually in the pictures. You can go to YouTube, and if you put Proverbs 226 Cyril Prabhu, you can watch all the interviews that my husband has done.
Oh yeah. And also to the Facebook page, I can attest to that. It is, people are commenting all the time, thanking them, and like you can truly see the impact that they have had in various communities.
Yes, and if somebody wants to donate, they can always donate through our website as well.
Oh yes. Okay, so thank you so much. We have the last thing is your make it known statement. And this is just whatever you want, if you could talk to everyone in the whole world, say one thing to them, something that you find very important, what would it be?
Okay, so all of us are going through some weird thing now because of coronavirus. And my personal thing is, in this world, every circumstance, every situation has a positivity to it. I really wish all of us look at the positivity rather than the negativity in the circumstance. um, like, this is a perfect example which we normally say is, when you have a big sheet of white paper and you have a single black dot, if you're trying to focus on the black dot, then it's going to just keep bothering you about the black dot, rather than focus on the entire space out there, realizing that there is so much area that you can work on, and ignore the black dot. So life is always going to come up with challenges. There are only two options for you. One is, either you can crib and complain about the bad things happening and make yourself miserable and make people around you miserable, or rather you can just tell yourself, this is just a stepping stone, let me get stronger, and this is going to help me get stronger, and face the problem and embrace it, and walk through the fire. And when you finish walking through the fire, you will know the strength you've gained to walk into another challenge, because your lifelong it's going to be full of ups and downs, challenges. The best to make yourself a better person is to see the challenges, look at the positivity in every challenge. I am very sure every challenge has its own positivity and negativity. So don't focus on the negativity, instead focus on the positivity and walk through it. The same thing applies to the similar situation right now we are. I mean, we are forced to be confined into one space. The best way to see this is, what is that you were not able to do when you did not have time. So make use of this time to do the things which we are not able to do. Or sometimes I think all we have to do is just sit down, don't think about anything, and then focus on what exactly life is about and what is that you want to achieve. Apart from, I'm not talking about referring to job related things, but personally, what is that you're doing, what is that you want your life to be, are you walking towards it, or are you distracted? So analyze yourself. This is the best time to analyze, because you have the time to sit down and analyze. So make use of this time, what you can do now which we are not able to do before because of lack of time. So any part of life, whenever any challenge comes up, always try to look at the positive. Every challenge has definitely a positive attitude to it. It's just that we fail to see that. We are so used to always seeing the negativity in that, rather than focusing on the positivity. So when you focus more on the positivity, it's not just you alone. You have a huge impact on people around you with your positive energy. You lift up so many people's spirit without you knowing that. Sometimes we don't need to do anything but just be positive and lively. That makes a huge difference among the people who are around you. So be a positive person and bring about changes without doing anything, just being positive. Good luck.
That's great. Thank you so much. This episode is brought to you by The Pink Rose. The Pink Rose is an online jewelry store. It's run by me, Mal. I make everyday jewelry that dresses up any outfit. This everyday jewelry is for my fellow girl bosses out there. You can wear it to the office, to date night, or even a girl's night. I put a lot of time and effort into making these beautiful pieces that just add to your beauty. But I do want my store to be more than just a brand. I also want it to make a difference. Therefore, a percentage of every purchase goes to various nonprofits that are helping women. During this time, I am donating to Shining Light Homes. They're working during this crisis to provide single moms with things like food, diapers, and wipes. So you know that your purchase is not just going into my pocket, but it's also making a difference. During this month also, I'm offering free shipping. Yes, you heard that right, free shipping. You have to use the code WeGotThis when you are checking out. So head on over to shopthepinkrose.com and follow on Instagram at shopthepinkrose to make your purchase. And don't forget, you deserve a rose.